In this video, Principal Kelly Myers and School Counselor Karen Grice, both members of the school leadership team at Highland Park Elementary School, describe how members of their team implement and continuously monitor their tiered support framework for academics and behavior to meet the diverse needs of their students. This includes their approach to selecting interventions that align with academic and behavioral requirements while considering the unique demographics of their community and how they adapt interventions to maximize student progress.
When we are trying to meet the needs of our students with any of our interventions, academics or behavior, we collect as much data as we possibly can. We go through the universal screener process, our diagnostic data, and we determine the needs of students based on who falls at risk and with that. And then we follow up with drill down assessments to determine specific gaps in students' needs. We take a look and make sure that we're meeting all the needs of all the students, and so we include our ELL teachers and our SPED teachers and get their input to make sure that we're honing in on specific needs of students as well.
For behavioral interventions, we make adaptations for students because we're looking at our students and what needs they might have, and they might need specific be ready. So we make the behavioral intervention, the check-in, check-out card, all about being ready or all about being kind. So we tailor it to what the student might need. We always start by training the facilitators that are going to be working with students so that they know what the intervention is all about. But then we do fidelity checks as the students are in those interventions where we're looking, is the student going to check in and out daily? Are they making their goals? If they're not making their goals, what do we need to do to make changes to their intervention?
Principal Myers and Mrs. Grice also highlight strategies for ensuring effective implementation, including resource allocation, staff training, and fidelity monitoring. They share the importance of building comprehensive student data profiles, tracking progress in both interventions and core instruction, and adjusting strategies when students or groups are not making the expected progress.
At the end of every school year, we always do a survey to determine how things went for the school year, and so we will hone in on next year's training based on what those surveys were. I also think that that's key to help with communication and with an intervention is that you do meet regularly with your teachers. My assistant principal and I meet weekly with our grade level teams to discuss any needs and ongoing challenges that they might be having with curriculum, standards, assessments, data, behavior, any of those kinds of things, acting as that professional learning community. But we also continuously meet every 4 to 5 weeks to discuss that whole child, and we're bringing that academics and the behavior there together as a team and discussing our needs as well.
So when we meet in our teams, we're looking at lots of data about our students. We're looking at attendance. We're looking at office discipline referrals, staff discipline referrals. We're looking at their grades. We're looking at many data sources so that we can look at the whole child.
And decisions can be made based on all of that, not just one thing. Sometimes with our academic interventions, we may have seen a whole group that may not be progressing as well as we would hoped. And so what we've done is it may be that we need to change our interventionist. We maybe had an educational assistant doing that intervention. So we've gone to moving it to a teacher. So then that teacher can use her professional knowledge and make the tweaks that she may need to do or slow down or emphasize something specific with that intervention that will then help those children to progress.
A couple of years ago, we noticed that our kindergarten students were having a really hard time with their check-in, check-out cards because their check-in, check-out intervention, the cards featured smiley faces, straight faces, and sad faces. And those students, if they were having behavioral problems and getting those sad faces, they were starting to internalize that and think, I'm a bad kid. And we didn't want them to think that. We feature stoplights on our cards now so that the red is that behavior where they've had to have several reminders and kind of more problematic behavior. Yellow is when they've just needed a little bit of a prompt, and green when they're having great behaviors during that time period.
They also share the challenges they face in implementing a tiered support framework and their ongoing efforts towards continuous improvement to enhance student outcomes.
So some significant challenges to implementing RTI for academics or behavior sometimes can be budget and making sure that we do have the appropriate things needed to implement the interventions, as well as training, making sure that we follow up, but also just resources as well, having the mental health providers that we need to really hone in on our most challenging behaviors that we sometimes see. The way that we want to continually improve is that we're really honing in on trying to combine academics and behavior, in that we know how the two work together. Having academics and behavior together and discussing that is a good way to problem solve, the best way to meet that child's needs.
Highland Park Elementary is a Tennessee Tiered Support Center partner school. Their implementation of a tiered support framework provides one example of an aligned and effective system supporting both academics and behavior.